So now I'm going to take you through the costume settings in the Machinima Tool. The first thing you'll see here is the render settings. There's a lot of different render settings, and most of them you might not be using. If you're doing the screenshots, for example, and you're advanced Photoshopper or something like that, these are going to be, gorgeous to work with because it allows you to isolate objects and stuff like that. So it's really cool. The first one is render wireframe, and if you're going to make some techie movie, you can render wireframe and see everything in wireframe. It might be useful, and that's why I left that in there. The next one is render M2. Now when I use render M2, M2 files is like trees and benches and lamps and stuff like that in the area. So if I hit render M2, it will remove all of those. They're still there, I just cannot see them right now. So just to show you how that works. So going over to this tree, and see I cannot move any further. And when I hit render M2, I still cannot move any further because they're still there. It's not some hack to remove all the models, it's just so you cannot see them. And then we got render VMO, and VMO is buildings like these. I don't know if there's anything else here. No. So when VMOs is buildings and big houses and things like that. So if we turn off those, we can see through. The next thing is render terrain. So if we turn on that one, we cannot see the terrain. It's still there, but you can just move around. And the last one is render water. So you can see there's water out there. Turn it on, turn it off. So a lot of different stuff to play around with. It's good for screenshots, and until I get the it's called multipass render ready, you won't really be using these for movie making yet. It's actually good if you're going to make a in-game model viewer. If you just out here and change the sky settings and so on, it can be used for that. But other than that, I don't really see what it should be useful for yet, other than screenshots, of course. Now the next one is horizon mountains. Do you remember in when you're just outside Ironforge, you can actually see the Blackrock Mountain, or you think you can see the Blackrock Mountain. Is actually a low resolution model of the Blackrock Mountain out in the horizon. And these low resolution models make everything looks a little bit compact when you're inside some areas. For example, in the Tanaris Desert, there is a lot of horizon mountain. It makes it look a little bit, yeah, it's not that open. It looks like it's really small. So if you disable the horizon mountains, it looks like this desert is just going on forever. So it's a good one to play around with. I can't really show you it here because there aren't really any horizon mountain other than over there. You can actually see it right there. Some of these mountains in horizon, and when I turn them off, they're just not there. So on to the next thing. That is the target glow / name. And many people don't understand what that feature is good for, and I'm actually going to turn on fraps for that one. So fraps, and I'm also going to turn on spectate mode for that one and set down the spectate speed to 1. So actually a little bit more, maybe 5. So something like that. Yes, sir. Now if we're going to make a little shot here, set it back to 1, and as you can see my mouse is right here, so I'm moving it off the screen, and even though it's off the screen, as you can see here, suddenly it highlights. Now it's not highlighted, now it's highlighted, and I cannot get my mouse away from not highlighting the models, and it looks awful in movies where you have suddenly an NPC highlighting for some reason. And it's really annoying when you're making movies and suddenly something highlights because of your cursor, and that Blizzard not allow you to not, when you're not in the screen, it will not highlight. So what I did was make a hack that remove the highlights. So if you do this, as you can see, even though I move my mouse cursor over her, it does not highlight. However, if I turn it back on again, just there, as you can see, it highlights every time I move my cursor over it. And when it's off, it does not highlight. Even if I select the NPC, it does not highlight. And that's another thing, the names. Because if we are going to make a PvP movie or a PvE movie and we're going to attack some NPCs and stuff like that, they're being highlighted and we can see their name. And we cannot remove that. There's a lot of different settings inside the interface pane, and it's cool that Blizzard made that, but it does not allow us to remove the names of the target. And that's quite annoying when we're making movies, because we can see that target selection circle, as you can see, and we can see their names. It's frustrating, right? So if we hit the let's go back here. If we hit the target glow name, what happens is we can select the NPC, as you can see here, but there is no target circle, there is no name, and there is no highlight. So we can still attack the NPC, and if we just turn off the interface, as you can see, and if we just remove the scrolling combat text, so like that, then it's looking like someone else fighting, because you cannot see the combat text, you cannot see the name of the NPC, and it's not being highlighted. So that's a really good feature to have. And you can see now I've selected the NPC, but I cannot see I've selected it because that one is on. So that's a really cool feature to have. The next part, actually the last part here, is, well, you can guess it, right? It's costume environment, the set environment pane here. We can go through different environment presets. For example, 499 will give it a different look to the area. Each preset is, presets that Blizzard use for different areas, and there's a lot to play around with. If you want a different look in your scene, you can just, scroll through these and find something cool. Like this one's look really cool, right? Enhanced glow allows you to make everything glow and not glow. This one is actually quite cool. What was that one? 485? Okay, I remember that one. That's a cool one. And that's why I've added a favorites button. It's not yet available for use, but then when you click here, you're going to have a favorites and said, okay, this one looks cool, and I'm going to save it. So that's the costume environments, or the environments at least. Let's set the speed up to 100, because I'm going to show you these skybox settings. Skyboxes are, well, it's like the sky. Normally when we're in here, you can see we got clouds, and it's only in the vanilla WoW areas where we got clouds. In Burning Crusade and in Wrath of the Lich King, all the places got skyboxes, and it's because they look much more cool, and the clouds here in the vanilla WoW looks awful. So I've enabled a feature that allows you to actually put skyboxes in the vanilla WoW, for example here in Shadowglen. So what we can do is just scroll through the different skyboxes. As you can see here, it's the one from Stratholme. Some of them might not match what you're making. This one actually matches a lot of different areas. You can always change the colors. I'm going to show that later on, but let's just turn off all these so you can see the different ones we have here, and set up a field of view. Now there's a lot of different skyboxes we can use. Ton of them. I think there's a few hundred. This one always looks cool, right? A few hundred of these. The last ones is really crazy stuff.